Hi everybody, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm sharing with you something that I've been doing with my dad for as long as I can remember, and that is prepping onions and garlic so that you have it for at least 4 to 6 months. So you prep once and then you have it to use it whenever you want. And it's pretty great. I'll show you a few different ways of storing it. Like you can store it in the fridge, in the freezer, in different containers. So I'll share all of that with you in this video, and I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is peel all of this garlic. That is the part that takes the longest. So what I usually do is I put a show and then I watch YouTube usually while I peel the garlic, and then we are gonna set aside and then peel all of our onions. I only bought 1 bag of onions today because I still have some, but I wanted to get ahead and make sure that I have it for the next 4 to 6 months. So I went ahead and bought another bag. And one more thing I wanted to mention is the garlic. Make sure to never buy garlic from China. I found that it is of inferior quality, and it also goes bad more quickly, because I do set aside 2 bulbs of garlic to eat fresh if I'm doing a marinade or something and I don't want to like thaw it from the freezer. I keep 2 bulbs in my pantry. But if I buy Chinese garlic, I find that it often just goes bad really quickly. So this one is from Argentina. And also even better if you can buy pre-peeled garlic. That will save you at least an hour, I think. We'll see how long it takes to actually peel all of this garlic. And I think I'm gonna try like a technique that you put all of it inside 2 containers, and then you like shake it, and then it's supposed to help peel the garlic, but I'm not sure if it's gonna work. So if you have any suggestions on how to peel this much garlic, leave it down in the comments. I always appreciate a few ways to save time in the kitchen. Okay, so let's get started with all of this garlic. I already used some yesterday when I was cooking, but I have a cutting board here, a good knife, and let's see how many bulbs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 bulbs of garlic. I do like buying Canadian garlic, but it's only in season like for a few months at Costco. So this time when I went to buy it, they didn't have it, obviously, because it's not garlic season. And this time they had it from Argentina, which I appreciate. Okay, so to start, I'm gonna grab a few containers. One will be my garbage, which I always like to have whenever I'm cooking. Like, I like to have a bowl here so that I can put all the scraps and don't have to keep opening my garbage can with dirty hands and all of that. And I'm also gonna grab some containers to put the garlic so that we can try our technique of shaking it. I'm gonna try these 2, which I'm gonna put there. And then this will be my garbage. I'll put it right there. Okay, let's get started on this garlic. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try like cutting the ends, both ends, so that when I shake them, hopefully it'll make things a bit easier. And let's check the time. Right now it's 10:19. So we will see how long this actually takes. And I am losing a little bit of garlic, like the ends that are good that I'm cutting off. But I mean, if it saves me an hour, it's totally worth it. Oh, I put it in the wrong container. This is my garbage. Let me put this over here. Perfect. I think this will actually work. And like I mentioned, I've been doing this ever since I was a child with my dad. And originally I only did it with onions, but then I thought, why not do it with garlic as well? So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. And you might be thinking, wow, it takes a whole hour to do this. Hold on. Is it not easier to just peel garlic and cut an onion when you want to use one? And no, because if I were to cut an onion and peel garlic and mash it, it would take me at least 10-15 minutes. So if I do it 4 times, that's already an hour. This, I do it once and then I have it for 6 months. So it's definitely worth it. And I'm that type of person that puts onion and garlic in pretty much everything that I cook. There's not a single savory dish that doesn't have garlic and onion in it. What also helps is if you buy garlic that has big bulbs, or bulbs. So that means that you have big cloves inside. So that makes it easier as well, because instead of having to peel 10 tiny cloves, you only have to peel 5 big ones. Also, if you have family around, you can always bring them and do a garlic peeling party where you just hang out and peel garlic. That way it's fun. You're spending time with friends and family, and you have peeled garlic at the end. It's a win-win. My husband and I moved to this town in the north of British Columbia, and we have absolutely no family around us. I think the closest family we have is about 10 hours away, plane ride. So, and we moved here not too long ago, maybe a couple years. So we also don't have that many friends. We're also very shy people, so it's not easy to make friends, especially after you get older. I don't know. I find that some of my best friends are still the ones I had from not even high school, like middle school. Sometimes I don't put anything to watch. I just kind of focus on the task that I'm doing without listening to anything, watching anything. Kind of like a meditation of some sort. And I quite enjoy it. Okay, with this one, we're gonna count how many cloves we have so that after we can do an average of how many portions we have frozen to see more or less how long it will last based on how many cloves I usually put in every dish that I make. And then we'll also do a price just to see how much it adds to our recipe. Okay, let's see how many cloves we get in this one. Okay, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, 12. So I combined 2 small ones into 1 for my count, for my purposes, because if a recipe called for 1, I wouldn't put one that's this size. I would put one that's a considerable amount. So 12. Let's keep that in mind. I will put some notes here at the end on how many we actually got, how long it took, and all of that. So I thought while I was peeling all of this garlic and all of this onion, I would share a bit about myself and my family. So we could do like a get to know me while we peel onions and garlic type of video. Instead of just watching me peel garlic. We started I think 19. So it's been 11 minutes already. Or 20, I don't know. I can't remember the time that we started. But yeah, so my husband and I moved here a few years ago. And before that, we lived in a lot of places. I did my undergrad in biochemistry because I thought I wanted to be a doctor. But after realizing that doctors mostly prescribe medicine, and not that they don't really do much, but they don't do a whole lot in terms of prevention, I decided that I wanted to do a master's in nutrition and then become a dietitian. So that's what I did. So then I went to Spain and spent 2 years there doing my master's. And it was in nutrition, healthy aging, and chronic disease. So then my husband and I, we spent 2 years living there. My husband is originally a pilot. He has an European pilot license, but then we decided to move to Canada, so he gave that up. So he does not work as a pilot right now, or ever will, because pilots in Canada make very little money. So it's not very worth it for us. And then I work at a local hospital here in my town, managing the kitchen. But I also work part-time as a dietitian, helping patients going through cancer treatment. And then now I decided to start this YouTube to bring some balanced, healthy meals and snacks. And with the cost of living nowadays, it's so expensive and so discouraging to go to the grocery store and then you see your bill be like $500, $600. I don't think I ever go to Costco and I don't leave without spending at least $300, which is crazy. Meat is so expensive, and it's so important to me and my family that we eat a lot of meat. Yeah, so I thought I would create this channel to show you guys that you can eat on a budget, and you can eat healthy, and you can eat meat. You don't have to just eat rice and beans, although rice and beans is a staple around here because it is cheap, it's filling. It's also what we grew up eating as Brazilian people. So I also plan on always bringing you the cost per meal so that you can see how much it costs to cook from scratch and how much you're spending on each meal. And every time I do a cost like analysis on my meals, I realized that it is still expensive to cook from scratch. Like you would think like, oh, if I'm cooking from scratch, I'm gonna spend under $1 per meal. But if you're eating a considerable amount of protein and vegetables with every meal, and you want to buy grass-fed, grass-finished chicken and beef, it will be very expensive. Not under $1. I think I made some butter chicken yesterday and I was doing the cost per meal breakdown, and I think it was just under $3. And that does not include my time, like the time that I spent making it. So if you like that type of content and you want to save some money in the kitchen, but you don't want to compromise on the health of your family, I would consider subscribing. And I'm also a person that has very strong opinions about pretty much everything. Like I love talking about different oils, which oil is the healthiest to cook with. And after living in Spain for 2 years and doing a nutrition degree over there and learning a lot about the Mediterranean diet, I have a few papers published on Mediterranean diets. I don't think anybody could convince me that olive oil isn't the healthiest oil that there is on the planet. Like I love olive oil. I put it in everything. I cook my eggs in olive oil. I bake with olive oil sometimes. Although now I use avocado oil to bake because it has a more neutral flavor. But yeah, olive oil to me is the best and will always be the best oil. If it is extra virgin olive oil, pure, not mixed with any other type of oil, in a glass container. And it has to be a dark glass because light oxidizes the oil, so you don't want any of that. It could also be, I guess, some sort of metal tin if you're looking for an oil or you like an oil that comes in a metal tin. But there is some evidence that the metal reacts with the olive oil, so I think I would just stay with glass. I buy mine from Costco. It is that yellow one. I'll put a picture here, or maybe you can see it over there. It is organic. It comes from Turkey, I believe. If they sold some from Spain, I would buy it because their olive oil is incredible. But yeah. What are some other facts about me that I can share with you so you get to know me a little bit better? I guess I can share a bit about the reason why I decided to move from medicine towards nutrition and more prevention rather than just treatment. And don't get me wrong, I believe there's a time and place for you to see a doctor. For example, surgeons, you're in a car crash, somebody needs to stitch you up, or you broken a bone. Like you're not going to go to a naturopath or a dietitian to fix those issues. So I do believe there are useful ways that doctors can help you. But in general, my grandpa was, I don't know, I think it was over a decade ago, my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and basically he just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and there was nothing anybody could do to like reverse it or stop it. I know that nowadays there are some things that you can try prevention wise, or at least that's what they say. I'm not updated on the latest research. But then when I was finishing my degree and deciding what was I going to do for the rest of my life, you know, like every undergrad person does in the middle of their degree, contemplating their life choices, especially if you do a science degree. I think that was probably one of the biggest mistakes of my life, was doing a science degree, because that doesn't get you anywhere. So you study for 4 years, and at the end you have nothing to show for it. You have a degree, but you can't work anywhere pretty much. And you have to either do a master's, a PhD, and then become a professor, or you have to go to grad school, so dentistry, law school, medical school. So I didn't really like that. Like, if I were to spend 4 years doing something and paying a lot of money to get a degree, I would hope that at the end that would guarantee me a job, but it didn't. So it was a very stressful time in my life. And okay, so then back to my story. My grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. There wasn't anything that anybody could do. And then at this time I was doing my thesis, and I was in a biophysics lab, and they were studying Alzheimer's, and it was a really passionate topic of mine at that point. So I decided to study if some compounds that are found in food. So I remember I did green tea, so it's EGCG, the compound that's found in green tea. I did resveratrol, which is found in grapes, and I did caffeine, I believe, and one other that I can't remember. But yeah, so I tested the effects of these compounds on brain mimicking membranes to see if they had any effect on decreasing plaque size. Because if you don't know anything about Alzheimer's, is that it is the result of accumulation of plaque in the brain, and then that causes all sorts of issues like memory issues, and it's all downhill from there. But anyway, so then I became fascinated with the topic of nutrition and disease, and then I decided that I wanted to study that further and then help people by making them have or make better choices when it comes to their food. And like that, we are almost done. These are our last cloves of garlic. Okay, there we go. Let's clean this up really quickly. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna put this here and okay, and then I'm gonna put this over there. Okay. Now we're gonna see if shaking this will give us some garlic cloves that are peeled. It might be loud for a little bit. Ooh, I think it's already working. Okay, so it is working. So I'm gonna grab another bowl. And then I'm gonna put the ones that are peeled over here. It worked pretty well. So I'm gonna go back to my story really quickly. Another reason why I decided to not pursue medicine and do nutrition instead was because I knew I wanted to have a family and have children. And if I were to go to medical school and then residency and then maybe a fellowship, I knew that it would take a big chunk of my life, and I didn't want to wait that long to have children. So I'm really glad I chose the path that I did. I did say that I regret going to doing an undergrad, but at the same time, I don't really regret anything in my life, because everything that I did led me to the place that I am today, and I'm very happy with my life. I'm very grateful for everything that I have. But every time I'm talking to someone younger than me or other parents that have children, I always tell them to not encourage them to go to university for a degree that won't lead them to a job, and they have to continue spending money to get further and further education. So yeah, that's always my advice. Unless, of course, like there are exceptions to everything. If you know you want to be a professor, like the dream of your life is to teach a college class or a university, then of course, by all means, go ahead and go to university, like, and then do a master's and then a PhD. But you just have to know that if you don't want to do that, you might still have to do a master's and a PhD, because you might have no other choice. If you don't want to waste your studies, I mean, because you can always go and be an electrician, like independently if you have a degree or not. Perfect. Okay, we're all done with the garlic. Now I'm gonna clean up and then we're gonna prep the onion. So they are gigantic. Like, look at the size of this onion. So if I were to make a dish, I'd probably use half of an onion. So now, see if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would mean that I would have enough onions to do 22 dishes. More or less. Okay, so we just start by cutting it in half, or cutting the ends, first of all. And then we cut it in half. And then we cut it again in fours. And then we add it to our bowl. And we're gonna put it in the food processor, so it doesn't really matter if you cut a part that's too small, too big, it'll all be mashed together. And I guess fun fact about this is that my dad actually started doing this because I hated to eat foods, oh my eyes, that had onions in it. Like I could not see little pieces of onions, otherwise I would not eat the dish. So then he started pureeing, the onions. I'm gonna cry now. Okay, I'll be back. I'm gonna put some glasses. Actually, some goggles that are from my lab days. Okay, I'm back. I know I don't look the most flattering right now, but it does the job, honestly. I hate cutting onions so much because I always cry. So if I can cry just once in 6 months, great. Okay. But it's a bit. Okay, just had to adjust it a little bit. I'm gonna try doing this as quickly as possible. So my husband and I, we lived in a lot of different places. So we lived together. We lived in Montreal, Canada, like in Quebec. We lived in Abbotsford, in the Lower Mainland, so close to Vancouver. We lived in Ireland, England, and then my husband lived in Florida as well when he was doing his pilot license. And Dubai, obviously, Brazil, we both lived there in different parts of Brazil. So we've moved so much that we both got to a point that we were like, if we're ever moving again, we have to be able to put everything in a car or a truck and then take all of our stuff with us, because after you move that much, you start getting tired of having to pack everything, and everything has to fit in a suitcase, and you can't really have anything that's good quality because you can't take it with you. So we both got tired of that life, and also like it's hard to maintain friends, and yeah, so we both have friends all over the world, and we're ready to just settle in a place and then make some friends, start our family. Although I don't think we're gonna live here forever. We don't find that the city that we live in is ideal because there's not a big airport, so for our family to come visit, it's always a couple of flights to get here. So that's already not ideal because we want them to be able to visit and see our children. Right now we only have one daughter, but yeah, so not ideal. But we will stay here for at least a couple more years. Okay, I'm gonna finish chopping this onion and then I'll come back. Oh man, I'm gonna have to turn on I'm starting to cry. Oh, I'll turn it off soon, but for now. Okay, let me remove my super sexy goggles. It definitely squished my face, so I have some lines now, but please just consider that. So we're gonna get started with the garlic first, just because it's easier and faster. This is what we're gonna use to freeze our garlic, and I like using these because you can take one whole puck out, and then that means a couple cloves of garlic. So that's what I like using, and I like freezing them here and then moving them into a reusable silicone bag, just because then I can reuse these and I don't have to have a million of these ones because they are more expensive than a silicone bag. Okay, let's get started. We're just gonna put everything in the food processor, all of the garlics, like that. And then we are gonna use some olive oil. So this is the one that I was talking about. It is Terra Delisa, first cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. Cold press is also best because they don't use any heat, so all of the nutrients stay intact. So we're just gonna add some olive oil, like that. We have to leave some to use with our onions as well. We're probably gonna use all of this olive oil. It wasn't full to begin with, but okay. I'm gonna put it over there. Put the lid on. Watch me struggle. What the hell? There we go. Okay, so we're just gonna pulse. We're just gonna pulse until we get the texture that we like. I like doing it very finely chopped. Then I like opening it. We're gonna grab a spatula and then we're gonna scrape the sides because these ones are a bit bigger. Smells incredible. So worth it. So we've been here for 1 hour so far, and we are almost done because the part that takes the longest is actually just peeling and chopping everything. Okay. And I like doing onion and garlic on the same day because I only dirty the food processor once, and then, yeah. it is done. So it was that quick and that easy. So now we're gonna open our molds, our silicone molds. And then here you have two measurements, 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. I will see how much I can add of this before it, I like making some that are a bit bigger than others so that when I am cooking and I want just a little bit of garlic, I can grab one, or if I want a little bit more, then I grab the one that has a bit more. So it doesn't have to be perfect. I just fill my molds here and yep, and then freeze it. And then tomorrow I'll probably move them onto a bag and then wash these molds. And I usually reserve these just for garlic, just because it can leave some residual taste and smell. So I wouldn't want to freeze like yogurt in this garlic container. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And then I'm just gonna put the lid on and then pop it in the freezer. And then tomorrow I'll move them into a plastic bag or a reusable silicone. Okay, so with what's left here, okay, and then I'm gonna pour some olive oil on top. And that is done. And put it in my fridge so that I can use over the next couple of weeks. Just like that. That will make sure that it doesn't go bad, doesn't go moldy. Plus it's garlic, I mean, mold barely grows on it. There. Okay, let me put this in the fridge. Okay, now we're gonna do the onions and we're gonna do the same thing, except that we're gonna freeze some in these containers the same way that we just put our garlic in the fridge. We're gonna fill it up, pour some olive oil, and then freeze one. Keep one in the fridge for later use. And then we are also gonna scoop some onto this tray. I can show you how it looks once it's all scooped up. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I'll show you once it's all done. For the onions, I don't like to add a lot of olive oil because it releases a lot of water. So I like to strain the puree before I freeze it. Then I add some olive oil on top. And then this one's gonna go to my fridge to use. I wanna strain the rest of this, but I only have a small strainer. I hope it will. So this is what I like to do. I like to grab a scoop. This is a restaurant style scoop. I just go to my local restaurant store, restaurant supply store, and then I buy restaurant quality scoops because they last forever. I don't think I'll ever have to replace this one, and this is a size 2 to 3 ounces. I go by color. This is a green scoop, and it's the biggest one I have. So I grab some onion like that, and then I place it like this. And then I go like that. Let me show you. And then I freeze them like this. And once they're frozen, I move them onto a bag. And then I just either thaw it before adding it to my recipe, or I just literally put some oil in my pan and then plop one of these frozen and everything, and then they'll thaw and fry and caramelize all at the same time in my pan. So, because I honestly never remember to thaw it before I think about cooking. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make beans, and then I take them out of the freezer and put it in my pan right away, because I never think to make beans and then be like, oh, I have to thaw my onion. No, I just put it directly from the freezer into my pan. And that's it. So if you enjoyed hanging out with me today in my kitchen and making our lives easier for the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. I plan to bring more recipes and tips like this to my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.